Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we are looking at a little 4-game slate here in the NBA on Tuesday night, Nate. In this one, we're taking a look at the Phoenix Suns playing host to those pesky Minnesota Timberwolves. See if Rudy Gobert can help them out. DeAndre Ayton not likely to play tonight. Get into all of that action here in just a minute. Want to make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. Continue to follow along with us as we're bringing you a couple game videos and our player props video each and every weekday of this regular season. Also want you to head to thelines.com. That's where we have all of our great written content all year long for you guys, and our odds finder tool, where you go ahead and make sure that you are shopping those lines to the best of your ability across U.S. sportsbooks, all these player props and game lines. Nate, let's go ahead and jump into this Tuesday night slate and talk Wolves and Suns.
Yeah, it starts with the other game we break down. The Nets playing their 5th game in a week on a back-to-back situation, are -1.5 at home against the Bulls, total 230 there. The Warriors are +1 at Miami. They beat the Heat at home last week. Different story usually for Miami at home. Steph Curry is good to go, I think, with that neck injury. The Magic are +2.5 at Thunder. And then the game we get to here right now, Wolves are +3.5 at the Suns. The total's 227. It opened at +5 for the Wolves, and I don't really understand why the Wolves are picking up steam here. They have been decidedly average here with Rudy Gobert added to the fold. 15th in points per game and 15th in points allowed after being the highest scoring team in the league last year, right? So the offense is not getting any better with that spacing. We'll talk about the defense in a second, but those average numbers come against what might be the softest schedule in the league. The Thunder twice, the Spurs 3 times. They lost 2 of those, the Jazz and then the Lakers. So they have not played what you would consider a playoff team at this point. And last year when they were underdogs, they were 9-19 on the road. They were 15-28 straight up in general, and with a -5 margin of victory. And then the Suns, they didn't necessarily cover a lot at home, 24-24 against the spread because those spreads were huge. But they were 41-10 straight up since the start of last year, and the average margin is 8.5 points. So at +3.5 and -3.5, if you're looking for the Suns' perspective, I feel very confident, especially when you look at the recent history against Minnesota. They've won 7 of their last 8. They've won by double digits in 3 of their last 4 at home. And the one loss you look at just like screams outlier. And Cat, 42 and 41 points, combined 55% field goal shooting. The Suns committed 22 turnovers. They never do that. They sent the Wolves to the line 35 times, and then they've won 4 straight since against the Wolves, committing just 14 turnovers, sending them to the line 21 times. So they've obviously shored that up. And even in that loss, Josh, they shot 42% from 3, and they won the rebounding battle. And, the Wolves, what are they doing well with Gobert? They're keeping people off the free throw line. Whoop-de-doo, that's not the Suns' game. They don't care about getting the free throw line. They're still allowing the most assists per game. That's a big problem against the most efficient team in basketball. Still allowing the second most 3-point attempts. And, it's kind of the knock on Gobert is that, you can play him off the floor but that's not really the case. What the situation is if you go 4 out against the Gobert-led defense and those 4 defenders can't keep anybody in front of them, then you're going to get good shots. You're going to get them in rotation. And that's exactly what we saw with the Jazz in that Clippers series a couple years ago, and that's what we're seeing now with the Wolves giving up a very good shot diet. And I absolutely trust Monty Williams and CP3 and Booker to get great shots here tonight. I think the Suns could lead wire to wire here and potentially just blow out another team. I mean, they've blown out 4 straight opponents, so why not?
Why not? Indeed, they're back on their bullshit, as we say. The Phoenix Suns just mirroring what they did last year. People thought Jay Crowder was really important, and I'm sure he was. Other guys are stepping up already for them. Same exact concept as last season. Just be in the top 4 in both offensive and defensive rating. What could possibly go wrong? Sounds easy, but it's just discipline. Like you said, if the Minnesota is going to win this game, it's going to be because they just muck it up and just make it this messy, gross thing. Similar to how when you're an underdog in football, you're really just looking for that weird turnover game. You want to mess it up, right, and get out of the norm. And I think that's what Minnesota is going to try to do. I mean, they're already in the top 3 or 4 in terms of pace this season. Also helps that they're playing playing the Spurs, who continue to play at that pace as well. It seems they play them once a week at this point. So those two teams usually playing at about 104 pace when they match up. That's what they want to do here. And Phoenix, it's obviously just polar opposites for them, right? They're happy to play at a much slower pace as they continue to do this season as they did last season. I mean, it's about average for the league, or bottom half, if you will, but it's still it's still just slow compared to Minnesota, right? I mean, Phoenix playing at like 99 pace is still like pretty normal in the NBA. It's not like they're playing super slow. It's just very methodical. You look at, once again, the fourth quarter and clutch time and what they do. And there's a couple teams with a higher net rating than them. And that's one of them is San Antonio, because they keep playing Minnesota and having clutch time minutes and just destroying them once they get to the fourth quarter. You've seen sort of the same sort of like fluctuation in the games when in Minnesota's games in a lot of ways, come out slow, maybe try to come back with some, really good offense when it comes together for a few possessions, and then right back into the second half with finding deficits and then really getting into the fourth quarter and not playing good basketball. So the fact that teams are also scoring so many second chance points against them is absolutely wild. I mean, Minnesota's in the top 10 in terms of their second chance points and opportunities, but right, how are they at the worst team in terms of giving up opponents second chance points when you just picked up Rudy Gobert for this exact reason, right? And it's a lot of spacing. As you mentioned, the spacing is definitely messing them up on offense. It also seems to be messing them up on defense. Rudy Gobert is being pulled out above the foul line a lot more than he wants to. They're bottom, well, they're in the, right in smack dab in the middle of the league in terms of allowing points in the paint. So it's just all the things that they were hoping to get better at, they didn't. And all the things that they were doing well last year, they've gotten worse at because Rudy Gobert comes in and mucks up their spacing. So I took an under on this team's total before the season started. I think the Ant Edwards sort of issue that was a little bit swept under the rug, but man, it seems to have impacted him a lot, that in the state of Georgia, where he's from, he goes viral on a video, having some sort of a few slurs, if you will, in a way. It wasn't the worst thing that's ever been said, but it was clearly homophobic. And it's something that a lot of people have said to this point, it still seems to be affecting him. The main thing for me in his game seems to be he's not attacking, and there seems to be a lack of confidence, and he's not getting to the rim. And it's too high of a percentage of his shots are still coming from 3-point and even the mid range right now. And he's a young dude who's more athletic than pretty much everybody on the floor as soon as he steps on it. So you really want to see him make that kind of turnaround there for them. But yeah, for me, there's just I'm not as concerned with Ayton not playing all the things that they need their center to do. Really, Phoenix is mostly just defend and keep big guys out of the paint. Enter Bismack Biyombo. Jock Landale has been playing absolutely out of his mind for someone who you did just kind of came out of nowhere as a reserve guy last year, and is now hitting threes and is a really nice pick and pop partner for CP3, and is not a full liability on defense. So you can keep him on the floor. Without Ayton in the last two seasons, they're 19-6. It's pretty much the same percentage as their 51-13 when he is on the floor. So I'm really not concerned about that being if that's a reason that people are money's coming in on Minnesota. That's not going to stop me from betting on Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing you would like from Ayton is when you say pull Gobert out to the free throw line is a good mid-range shooter, and Biyombo is certainly not that. Landale has not yet found the range in the NBA, but like I said, I mean, their drive and kick game is going to be on point, and Monty Williams obviously knows what he has in his team. This is the reigning coach of the year, and the Wolves, I mean, whether it's coaching or whether it's leadership and the general malaise that they're in, I mean, they've been the worst third quarter team in the NBA in terms of scoring, second worst in terms of defense. Their numbers in the fourth quarter are good, but like you said, like skewed by playing teams like the Spurs, who were actually way, way better than them in the clutch. And if the Spurs are going to destroy you in the clutch, what about the most clutch team of all time last season? Now both guys still healthy, and they're just rolling. Like you said, 19 net rating, shooting over 50% from the floor, diming up at the highest rate, best assist to turnover ratio. And you go up against a team that allows the most assists per game. And Ant, like you said, struggling with his confidence. I mean, it's going to hurt your confidence to go up against Mikal Bridges, who's just maybe the best perimeter defender in the league. And since that explosion, 4 games since, Ant's averaging 16.5 points on 33% shooting against Mikal and the Suns. So I don't really see a path to victory for the Wolves if Anthony Edwards is not going off to match points with those two dynamic guards on the Suns.
Yeah, 100%. I think you can feel pretty good about some points for and some stats for both those guys as well in terms of Chris Paul and Devin Booker, both of whom do increase their usage a bit. not surprisingly, when Ayton is not in the game at this point. I do think it's a bit of a detriment to them, obviously not having that dude to be able to shoot, the big guy to be able to shoot and score from beyond the foul line. But still, once again, plenty happy to ride the duo of Chris Paul and Devin Booker in this one. So that is all the time we have for you guys in this one. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along with us and check out each of these game videos and player props videos that we have for each and every weekday. Until we see you next, happy betting.